Yeah, hello everyone. Nervin Reacts here, and welcome back to. Sorry, excuse me, burp there. As I was saying, welcome back to another video. So today we're gonna be reacting to another, history video by Simple History. Amazing. He has amazing stuff over there. His the content of his channel is the same as his title, Simple History, and he explains it in a simple enough fashion that even a child can understand. So yeah, one of my favorite history channels out there. So yeah, the title's called Good Things Evil Dictators Did. So yeah, I can't wait to see. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Deeds by evil dictators. Whether it's murder, pillage, unspeakable acts of violence, or horrendous war crimes, dictators give you plenty of reasons to emphasize that first syllable. But believe it or not, they weren't all bad all the time, just 99% of it. In between eradicating entire ethnic groups, they sometimes had to pause and think about the most effective way to maintain an iron grip on their population. And bizarrely, that often led to some small silver linings. So, while these dictators may not have set out to accomplish a good deed, some of their actions were a force for positive change. Sometimes even evil needs some good PR. Hitler's Animal Solution.
They're gonna talk about the animal, Hitler's animal rights and welfare campaign. I honestly thought from the thumbnail of the video that he was gonna, talk about, about the Autobahn. Okay, let's go.
Adolf Hitler, he was a lot of things. A fantastic speaker, intelligent propagandist, genocidal maniac, harbinger of warfare and death, extremely passionate about blonde hair and blue eyes. Yeah, the list goes on. But beneath the anti-Semitism, extreme nationalism, and desire to remove anyone who wasn't his ideal version of Germanic purity was a deep love that many might not have thought such a man to be capable of. A love between man and dog. It's fairly well known Hitler was a vegetarian who had a four-legged furry friend by his side his whole life.
Yeah, a lot of small details and facts about Hitler, not many people nowadays don't know, is that he was actually a vegetarian, and although he did smoke, he would eventually quit, and not only uh will he enact a animal welfare campaign, but he will also enact a no smoking campaign, and he even ordered his officials to never smoke in front, to quit smoking, and to never smoke in front of him. So his officials would just wait for him to leave, or when he's not around, they'd smoke. They'd smoke. So yeah.
But what's lesser known is that his love extended beyond dogs to encompass all animals. Indeed, while Hitler was busy murdering his way across Eastern Europe, he was also ensuring the welfare and protection of animals with a series of animal rights acts that extended across his tenure as Nazi leader. Almost immediately after becoming chancellor in 1933, Hitler and the Nazi Party introduced Reich animal protection laws. The laws made euthanasia mandatory for animals with no quality of life, banned animal experimentation except in specific select circumstances, and created a strict set of laws regulating animal slaughter, among other protections. Hermann Goering declared on
Yeah, another thing that's also documented is how whenever he ate with his officials, he would encourage them to go vegetarian, and he would often tell them and describe the inhumane massacre and treatment of animals in the food and farm industry. Kind of ironic, considering how a man with so much love for animals could have so much hate for certain humans. But his hatred for communists, I I don't I don't regard that as evil. That communism is the worst.
radio that the mistreatment of animals will be subject to internment in a concentration camp. But these measures weren't entirely altruistic. Some historians argue that while framed as protecting animal welfare, they also functioned as a direct attack on Jewish traditions. Kosher slaughter was indirectly prohibited as Jews were forced to follow the new German protocols. Over the next 10 years or so, the Nazis put a vast array of animal regulations in place, including documents about hunting, conservation, and domesticated pets. Everything from wolves down to lobsters were given better protection than Jewish people in Nazi Germany. And it wasn't just Hitler who cared about animal welfare. Many leading Nazis were animal lovers. Goebbels, Hess, Haas, and Dönitz all adored and owned dogs, while Hermann Göring's estate was prowled and protected by his very own pack of lions.
Wait, what?
All in all, when it came to Nazi Germany, maybe being an animal was...
Okay, say once about Hermann Göring. Hermann Göring and his incompetency as a military officer for the Air Force, and also his evil deeds as a Nazi official. But you can't deny that's super villain cool. James Bond villain cool, you know? Having literal lions in your house. You can't deny that.
Was a better option.
In Albion, no matter where you go or what you do, your mount will accompany you on your journey. Perhaps you'll...
Illiteracy in Iraq.
Also, one thing I forgot to mention earlier in terms of what I said about the Autobahn, a lot of people have the misconception that it was Hitler who created the German Autobahn or highway. No, the Autobahn was already there. He just helped expand it into newer territories.
Saddam Hussein was a dictator, unflinching in his use of chemical weaponry, violation of human rights, and inflaming ethnic hatred within Iraq. Across his regime, Hussein was responsible for countless atrocities, mass murders, and unspeakable acts of brutal violence. But despite his sordid legacy, in 1979 he still managed to earn a UNESCO Krupskaya Award for his work improving literacy rates in Iraq.
Oh wow.
As any
That's
good
most
dictator will
surprising.
tell you, an essential component of control is indoctrination, and one of the best places to begin indoctrination is through education. So, the first step was to create an Iraqi literacy campaign and open mandatory literacy schools for anyone between the ages of 15 and 45 deemed illiterate. Part of this campaign, though, also included harsh punishments for those not attending or found to be lying about their literacy levels. Refusal to attend could result in a $30 fine and 1 week in jail, whereas outright lying about your ability to read and write resulted in a $90 fine and a whole month in jail. Literacy.
As extreme as those punishments may be, illiteracy is a huge problem. So kids nowadays say, school. Why do I need to go to school? You need to go to school because we'll receive a fine and you'll have to go to jail. So yeah, as extreme as it is, you can't deny the logic there. It's like when you found out from the teacher your kid was bullying another kid. So, as punishment, instead of saying, "Go to your room," you just grab your belt and spank them on the butt. Sure, it seems harsh to hit your kid, but hey, what are you gonna do?
In Saddam Hussein's Iraq was a threat, not an opportunity. With the population educated under his thumb, Hussein used the schools to erase the history of marginalized communities that he sought to remove from Iraqi society, glorify himself through exalted indoctrination into the cult of the leader, and demonize America, all while generally keeping a tight watch on both the minds and actions of Iraqi citizens. But while Saddam Hussein may have created educational reforms for all the wrong reasons, they did have positive outcomes that rippled across Iraqi society. Between 1977 and 1987, male literacy rates increased to 87%, and female literacy increased massively, with only 25% recognized as illiterate in 1987, compared to 62% just 10 years earlier. In conclusion, if you were in Iraq in the 80s, you'd most likely learn to read and write, just mostly about how great Saddam Hussein was. Genghis Khan's Intelligence Society. Known for both strategic brilliance and
I don't really know a lot of Genghis Khan. I really should do some more research on this guy.
ruthlessness, Genghis Khan created the largest empire in human history. He spent a good portion of the 12th century first uniting warring Asian tribes under Mongol rule before branching out to Eastern Europe, successfully extending his control as far as modern-day Hungary. However, Genghis Khan's rise to power was the result of extraordinary brutality. Entire cities were annihilated, and survivors were often massacred or enslaved to serve as a grim warning to those who resisted Mongol domination. Estimates suggest his campaigns resulted in the deaths of an estimated 40 million, in some cases wiping out almost entire populations. But despite that, he was a man you could go so far as to call a tactical genius. Amidst the rampaging, pillaging, and total seizure of control, Genghis Khan achieved what no other dictator had: standardization. As unexciting.
Oh wow, I did not expect this. I knew Genghis Khan had intellectuals in his empire, but wow.
As that might sound, the reality is Genghis Khan and his successors put into place many large infrastructural standards that impacted trade and commerce worldwide for centuries to come. And although his children may have been Nepo babies, Khan placed a great deal of emphasis on rewarding work and action over merely basing hierarchy on lineage alone. Under the Mongolian Empire rule, the Silk Road thrived. Khan developed a system of shares called the Kubi that increased trade and the sharing of exotic materials. Merchant societal station was elevated, and an era of economic prosperity was ushered in. That's not all. The Mongols built roads and bridges, developed irrigation, and improved agricultural processes. They promoted freedom of religion and heavily influenced cultural development.
Wow, the freedom of religion part. Wow, I really did not expect that, considering, everything else.
Meaning intellectuals from across the world came to live and work in the Mongol Empire. Putting aside that the Mongols were brutal and devastating to those they opposed, Genghis Khan was a dictator who made a lot of positive changes that had a ripple effect over the coming centuries.
Yeah, but you can't really blame Genghis Khan for doing so, because many political figures throughout history in times of war would do the same thing. Same thing from ancient era to the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, so up until destroying entire communities and whatnot was really not uncommon. So you can't really blame the guy.
With new links between the East and West, universal taxation, and a shared currency, the world's economy was all the stronger for his influence.
Upload your Unreal Engine projects to the web and use them on any device, anywhere, anytime.
Learning to read with Stalin. Soviet Russia was not known for being a warm and fuzzy place, a cold, harsh, and unforgiving socialist state still reeling from the Russian Revolution, and a place where food, money, and tempers often ran short. The population was starving, morale was low, and the future looked bleak. Enter Joseph Stalin. Taking control after Lenin died in 1924, Stalin did not overall make Soviet Russia.
Yeah, and while he's talking about Stalin, just around a week ago, I finally got to watch the 2017 historical comedy called The Death of Stalin. Super funny with dark humor, but also really amazingly historically accurate. I was actually surprised by how there were barely, if not any, historical inaccuracies in the movie. It was just phenomenal. You can actually watch it on YouTube for free, with English subtitles. So after you're done with this video, I highly recommend you watch the movie.
A better place. Instead, he blockaded and left those suffering from the Great Famine to die or turn to cannibalism. was responsible for the elimination of an entire social class and fatally removed any political opponents who had any chance of overthrowing him. And that was all before World War II even got started. But among this and countless other atrocities, Stalin did have one good goal: making literacy a national standard.
Yeah, basically the same thing as Saddam Hussein.
At the turn of the century, only 28.4% of Russians aged over 9 could read or write.
Wow. 28%? Wow, that was really low.
Not helpful for a republic looking to strengthen its control over its citizens. Among other reasons, improving literacy was an effective means of indoctrinating and controlling Soviet citizens. The educational overhaul worked tremendously well. Stalin's tight grip regulated the curriculum, introduced subjects like communist ideology, and glorified both socialism and Stalin's supposed role in the Russian Revolution, crafting a narrative that fit into Stalin's cult of personality methodology. His methods may have been purely selfish, but they were certainly effective. There was a temporary 100% rate of literacy among Red Army soldiers in 1929, who Stalin believed needed to be educated in order to be politically engaged, in the correct fashion, of course.
Wow, from 28 to 100%. As much as you hate the guy, you can't deny his campaign was effective.
In 1939, 82% of young girls were literate, as were 94% of young boys. By the end of Stalin's rule, the population was well-read enough that it could pick up any text and learn all the ways Stalin was actually a pretty terrible guy.
Okay, so this was amazing. Yeah, I think for me the most surprising thing to learn about was how Genghis Khan allowed for religious freedom. I think that was the most surprising to me. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, really, so, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, link to the OG video down below, yada yada yada, and, yeah, go check out, like I said, go check out Simple History and also the movie The Death of Stalin. Both are really, really amazing. Okay, that's all. Bye!